Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So today is going to be a fun video. We are going to do a Pam Godwin deep dive. We're going to go over all of Pam Godwin's books that she's written in her backlog, and we're going to discuss that because we have a Pam Godwin interview coming up.
We do. Make sure you leave us a comment with any questions that you have for Pam, and we will make sure to ask those when we do the interview.
Yeah. So when okay, I know we interviewed Pam this weekend. When is that going to air for these guys to watch?
It will be out Thursday, April 25th. So you definitely want to check that out. And again, ask us all the questions you want to ask Pam, and we will make sure to ask her. So just put that in the comment below. And also hit that subscribe button. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
All right, so let's talk all things Pam then. I don't even know how to start this.
Okay, well, we're going to do a deep dive and we're going to go through all of Pam's books. So I feel like maybe the best way for us to start is to talk about our first Pam book, and then we'll just kind of go randomly through the books. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea. And I think our first book is the same book.
Dark Notes?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have my Dark Notes. You have a copy of it?
I do not have a copy of Dark Notes. I need a copy. I love Dark Notes. Dark Notes was my first Pam book because you told me to read it. Mm-hmm. And I called you and I'm like, because it's pretty, I don't even know if dark's the right way to describe the start of it. It's like horrific what her life is like. And it was really hard for me to read that. And you're like, oh, just keep reading.
Gosh dang it, you always make me sound so pleasant when I say that. That is not how I say it to you. I just say, keep reading. Just keep reading.
No, you don't. That You're like, just keep reading. I'm trying to read a book. Stop calling me. Click.
I've never hung up on you intentionally. The Canadians do it, not me.
I'm starting to question that.
Okay, anyhow, now that we've covered that I really don't hang up on her. And you've made my face really red. Okay.
So Ivory has a really rough life.
Yes,
it's not a good home life.
Now, this book definitely is, I mean, you love it. It's an age gap. It's a teacher-student. There's some BDSM elements, like he's more of a dom. It's a dom submissive type relationship. Not heavy. I mean, it's in there, but it's not like what it's centered around.
It doesn't overtake the book. In fact, that you're bringing that up is making me have to really think about it being in the book.
Yeah, but it is in the book. And then that is the way the relationship plays out. But you want to give them like a rundown of the book? More than what I did?
So yeah, she has a pretty bad home life. She's going to this prestigious school that is at Emmerich.
Yeah.
That he teaches at. And he starts to realize that she has some talent, but he also really quickly kind of realizes she needs a lot of help with her home life. And so he starts intervening to truly help her because he feels for her. Mm-hmm. But he's got a bunch of skeletons in his closet as well. And so good intentions lead us down this path.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a scandal or something that brought him to the school. So he's got his own things.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I love it.
So good, though.
Yeah, this got me started on Pam, and I just couldn't put her books down after that. So,
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So, why don't we jump into what everyone is talking about right now? I just started the first one. I'm not very far in. And I've already called you a bunch. And what do you know? What has Jessica told me? Just keep reading.
It's really hard with this. So this is her newest series, or it's going to be a trilogy. This is her Frozen Fate trilogy. So the first one is Hills of Shivers and Shadows. The second book is Cage of Ice and Echoes. And that will be released on the 23rd of this month. And of April.
Yes, she just posted the paperback. You can go order it right now and you will have it within 2 days. So apparently it's already ready.
And if you order it through her website, you get it personalized or you get it signed. So just FYI.
Yes.
Go to her website. And the third
book.
But
ebook doesn't come out till the 23rd.
Yeah. The third book will be out probably late summer. We'll find out for sure. It did get pushed back a little bit because she is just starting to write it. Like she just finished this book on Thursday night of last week. So just a few days ago. So, and it was not this
way
book.
to go to the deadline, book. Pam.
Yeah, not this book, the second book in the series. And I obviously have already read it. If you guys have been here for a hot minute, you know that I got to beta read for Pam. Read these books. They're set in Alaska. They are captive. They are there's dark. There's a lot. You definitely check triggers. She has all the triggers on her website. You can go look there. Gosh, this series, this is going to be like an all-time favorite. I just know it is because I've read the first two and I'm waiting for the third. It is very, you have a lot of questions. It is very, it gives you that thriller-esque vibe and that suspense. But it is a captive, why choose romance set in Alaska. Frankie is kidnapped from Sitka and she is taken to the Arctic Circle. And literally that is all I'm going to tell you because there's just so much to this story that, I mean, it just like I read it in January. I read the first book in January. I just finished the second book because she just finished writing it. And it's all that occupies my mind right now. Like that's all I think about are these books.
I've actually texted you more than once. Don't answer this, but does da-da-da-da happen?
Yes, you have. And I'm like, what do you want me to say? You told me not to answer it. I don't know what to say. Yeah, those are really hard when you do that because I really do not know what to say. So, yeah, I'm loving this trilogy. She is this is her best work ever, in my opinion. So I'm anxious.
I'm not very far into the first book, but I am definitely enjoying it. There are a lot of questions, so it's frustrating, but in a very good way.
Yeah, and I'm really anxious. Like whenever you call me, and I'll be like, "Where are you at? Where are you at?" Because I want to talk to you about it, but I can't. And a lot of the stuff, a lot of the answers, we get some in the first book, but we get way more in the second book where I already know what happens. And so I'm sitting here just going, hurry up, catch up with me so that I can talk to you about it. Yeah. So it's exciting. So you guys definitely want to go pre-order this. So good. So good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm really enjoying it. And those covers are beautiful. I love them.
And each one, I'm just going to give you guys this little bit of a hint here. Each one is significant to the book. And this one, I mean, you guys can see what's on here. And when you get to this scene where you realize what this is, your mind is just. And Pam said she designed these covers herself. And if you order the books themselves have, if I can show you, there's art in it that she drew. She drew this art that is inside the book. It's just gorgeous. The headers and stuff. You know, Frankie's are always the butterfly. And then a few of the other guys, they each have an animal that is like their animal. Like Kodiak. His is the bear. There's other art and stuff in here, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's a definite nod to some of the Native Alaskan culture. So I do love that.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
Well, moving right along, why don't we talk about Lessons in Sin? Yeah. And for those of you at home, we'll just pause.
Yeah.
While you attend morning worship.
Yes, isn't it? Oh, with Father Magnus. He just.
Yes. So.
Pam, I don't know who he is, but did you get to personally meet him? And can you put in a good word for us? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're married.
Oh, forgot there for a second. Okay, so you just finished this.
I just finished this. Mm-hmm. This is another, we have age gap going on. We have Tinsley, who has, I was really a little confused. It sounds like she was just kind of being a normal 18-year-old and maybe getting a little sexually adventurous, and her mom decides to freak out about it and put her.
Her mom wanted to keep her pure for some business deals.
Yes. So her mom decides to take her and put her in this Catholic school so that she cannot do anything with anyone else, so that they can continue to build their empire. And we find out more about that as the book goes along. And this is where she meets Father Magnus. And Father Magnus is there because he has some of his own things he's wrestling with, much like Emmerich and Dark Notes, different things, but kind of the same thing in a way. And so he is at this Catholic school. He's been there as Father Magnus for 10 years or something?
Yeah,
he's been there for a while.
Something before that, and he gave it up.
Yeah, so he is there, and that's where they meet. And I'm not sure what else we want to add to that without giving too much away.
Yeah, there might be a little there. I think there's a little hint of some BDSM elements in there as well, but it's kind of like Dark Notes, where it really isn't. It doesn't overtake the story. It's not what the story is really about. But you see a little bit of that in there. So if you like that, that works. But if you're like Mandy and I, and that doesn't appeal to you, then it's still going to work because it doesn't. It fits the narrative of the story. So along the lines of Lessons in Sin, there is a free novella that is always free to own through Kindle. And you can go into Amazon and you can download it and purchase it for $0.00, just like when they have the Stuff Your Kindle days. And that is Oh Holy Night. I do believe that this is a Christmas novella, and it's I think it's a bind up of other books with other authors, but we'll put a picture of it up here so you guys can see it. But that is in the same world. I'm not sure. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know if it is Tinsley and Mangus. What is it? Magnus. I don't know where to put that in. I don't know if it's them or somebody else in this world, but it is a little novella or a little story that goes along with it, and it is always free. Pam has several books that are always free, and we'll tell you when we get to those. So okay, so what's next?
All right. Have you read Beneath the Burn? It's her rock star.
Yes, I have read Beneath the Burn. I read this one several years ago. So when I read Dark Notes, I immediately went into a Pam Godwin tailspin, nosedive. I don't even know which one to call it. It was just because 2 days later I read her pirate one, and I was done like that. I mean, I was just constantly in there. So I did read this. I believe I read it in 2020, so it's been a while. But it is about Charlie, and she escapes some businessmen, whether it's mafia or not, I don't remember, but she's in a bad situation. She and the rock star, who is Jay, he's our main male character, they meet at the beginning of the book, and then they don't meet, it's a meet cute, and then they don't see each other for several years. And when he sees her, she's running from whatever this is, and he basically takes her with him and tries to protect her. He has some substance abuse issues. He's self-medicating, as some rock stars like to do, apparently. So I'm told. I don't know, because I've never been one. But anyhow, I can't carry a tuna paper bag. But it is a romantic thriller standalone. So it was one that I liked. It's one of her earlier works, but it's still good. Okay.
All right. So next up we have Sea of Ruin. Ruin. Sea of Ruin.
Oh wait, let's see. My Sea of Ruin.
Nice.
This is the Mystic
box. Copy is why I have this copy.
That is so true. Is yours signed? Yours is signed though, right? Because I got it from Pam signed. Or no?
Nope, but way to get my hopes up on that.
Sorry. Oops. Bad friend. Yeah, isn't this gorgeous? Okay, anyhow. So Sea of Ruin.
We have Bennett, who's our heroine, and she is married to Priest. They're pirates, by the way. This is a historical romance, and we're back in 1700s, isn't it?
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah.
And she catches him doing something that greatly upsets her. So she might overreact a tiny bit because she basically hops a boat and heads out of there. Pirate Hunter comes after her. Ashley takes her. A lot of problems are solved in this book by orgasm. Apparently, didn't know that's how things were done back then. But
Life
hey,
would be so much better if that's how it was every day.
And yeah, and so this is that story. I don't really know how to talk more about it without giving stuff away. So I think that probably wraps it up pretty good.
Yeah, it does. I just
it's a big boy, but it's good.
So it starts in 1714 is where it starts out. Okay. Now, along with that one, there is a prequel novella that sets up the book, and this again is always free on Amazon. So this is King of Libertines, and it just starts out. I mean, it's tiny, but it does set up Sea of Ruin. So it is. I read it actually after I read Sea of Ruin, but yeah, you can check this one out and see. I mean, we don't really see a lot of romance and stuff in this one, not too much. A little bit. Yeah, we do. A little bit. I think if I remember right, this is how she and Priest met. And it sets everything up. But
okay.
Yeah. Okay. What's next?
Okay. Dirty Ties.
Oh, I have that. I haven't read it yet, though. I'm so excited to read this. I just got it. It was gifted to me from somebody in one of my reading groups, and I'm so excited for this one. I started it, like I got 2 pages in and I fell asleep the other night. And it wasn't the book, it was that I had a very, very, very long day that day. And it's the play week. The kids all have a lot of things going on. The school play is happening this week, so it's a little crazy. But this one is a standalone billionaire romance. It has racing elements in it. You have our main female character. It says her name is Casey, and she's married to Colin. And on the outside, everything looks great, but on the inside, not so much. And she's seeking something more. I mean, she's bored. There's other things going on in their marriage that just isn't the greatest, apparently, according to what I've read. And that is where this mysterious hot dude, clad in leather in the riding circuit, comes into play. She cannot see his face. He is all covered from head to toe, helmet, leather. It is a book talk girlie's dream come true. And so I'm really excited to get started on this. I'm hoping to have it read within the next week or so. But the back says revenge. I race to finance it. I evade to protect it. I kill to attain it. I planned everything except her, the alluring, curvaceous blonde at the finish line, with sapphire eyes that cheat and lie, whose powerful family murdered mine. I hate her. I want her. I know she's hiding something, but so am I. Sounds good, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Oh, okay.
Oh, no. Next. I know what we're talking about now.
You can just talk about it. Next, we have One is a Promise.
One is a Promise. So this is the start of a trilogy. You have One is a Promise. The second book, I'm going to hold them up, but 2 is a Lie. And then you have 3 is a War. So this is a love triangle. She does have to choose at the end, unfortunately. Mandy is still very bitter about that fact.
Bitter is an understatement.
I personally love this book. I love this trilogy. I loved it so very much.
Okay.
Yeah, so you tell them. I know you're bitter about it, but tell them what happens.
Yes. Okay. So this is about Cole and Danny. They have the most epic meet cute ever. I love it. And they live together, and then he has to go away for work. She thinks he's going to be gone for a couple of months, which turns into a lot longer and a lot longer.
All right. So because we don't want to give too much away, let me just read the back, and this will give you an idea of what this trilogy is about. And this book, the first book, One is a Promise, is another one that is always free. So you can always read the first one for free, and you can own it. So you can download it for free through Amazon. She's taken a lot of her books off of Kindle Unlimited, but this is free. So there you go. So One is a Promise. It says, so one promise, one forever. One look and I knew Cole was mine. My dark rebel in leather, my powerhouse of passion, devastating smiles, and impulsiveness. When his job sends him overseas, he promises to return to me, a promise that's destroyed in the most irrevocable way. 2 years later, an arrogant suit invades my broken loneliness. A clean cut and stern, traces everything Cole wasn't. At first, he is a job that will rescue my dance company. But as he intrudes on my life, our hostile relationship evolves. He knows I'm still in love with Cole, but his dedication is my undoing. Then a catastrophic moment changes everything. Promises resurface, lies entangle, and an impossible choice shatters my world. I love 2 men, and I can only have one. So if you can handle a love triangle,
do not recommend.
She's lying. She just doesn't recommend love triangles in general.
That's why I said do not you said if you can handle a love triangle, and I said do not recommend.
Okay, so now that we're over the bitterness for a minute.
Says you. All right.
So now that Mandy is devastated all over again talking about that book.
Yes. This leads us into the Deliver series. So the Deliver series, you start with book 1 and book 2, and then around book 2, you want to read The One Is the Promise trilogy, and then you go back. There are some major spoilers in the Deliver series for that. So you definitely want to squeeze that in if you're wanting to do the reading order. So if you want to know that. So Deliver series. We did this actually as our buddy read last fall. So you could go here way more in depth, but with lots of spoilers for the very first book. That was the only one we did. But I've read the whole series. You've read the whole series. So why don't we jump into that?
Yeah, so this is a 9-book series. I have the bind ups. You can get the individual books, but if you're, well, this is what I would say to do. The first book, Deliver, is, again, one of the free ones that she has listed on Amazon. We can go get that for free. So I would definitely start with that. These are very dark.
Yes.
If you deal with a lot of triggers, you're going to want to check all of your triggers. I'll let Mandy tell you guys what the first book is about here in a second, but just know that this is a 9-book series, and it's probably some of her darkest work ever, next to the new stuff that she's got coming out.
Yeah. So for this series, I mean, pretty much anything Pam writes, you probably, if you feel like you might have a trigger, you probably want to check trigger warnings. For this series specifically, you probably definitely want to, because it's pretty brutal and detailed quite a bit. I was pretty uncomfortable in the first book, and I don't feel like I have triggers. And I was like, oh, this is a little much for me at times. Really good book, but it can be a little much. So we have Liv, who her job is she kidnaps people with a van, brings them back to this house, and trains them to be sex slaves for buyers. And so they bring in Joshua, who is a high school football player.
College.
He was in college?
Yeah. Baptist college.
That's right.
He was a good boy. He was a
that's what I was thinking. Yeah. He was still in high school.
Yeah,
okay.
Good boy.
So college football player
who
is a very, very good citizen and is still a virgin and all of those things that the buyer was looking for. So that's why they take him. And this is that story. And then the series continues on from there. I feel like that's about all you.
Yeah, because if we say anything more that happens, it's going to give away the series. You really have to read them in order, and the first 2 books kind of set up the rest of the series. The first one for sure, but the first 2 books really set that into motion. My favorite is the second book. So, and then there's one where it's set in prison, and that's my second favorite. So, just got to think about prisons. But I think you said the same thing too. The second book is one of your favorites. Yeah. So, but it's definitely worth a shot. And if you're like me and you read them back to back to back, just have some help nearby because it's a lot of dark. There's a lot of dark.
Yes.
So
yes, it is a lot of dark.
it really,
All right.
really.
So next up we have Incentive. And I believe we both have not read that one.
No, I know from what I've looked up and my notes, and I do have my notes somewhere. Incentive is a reverse age gap.
Yes.
And it is the heroine. Okay, let me start that again. So let me just get my ducks in a row here. So our hero of this book, our main male character, he takes a job as an escort. And so he is going to work at Incentive, which is or Infidelity. I'm sorry, is what it's called. Infidelity is the world that the sex club that he's working in. And he has to sign away his life for like a year to work for these. It's a lot of money. He needs the money. So he gets the money, but you have to sign a year-long contract. And you don't know who you're going to be assigned to. You don't know who's going to be your person here. And so they match you, the club matches you by like your interests and whatever. And so his person that he's assigned to comes in, and it's this girl who is a famous Hollywood starlet of some kind. And that's pretty much what I know about it. I do also know that it is a part of the infidelity world that Aletha Romig, I think that's how you say her name, wrote. So it's kind of in collab with that world, from what I can tell, from what I've seen. Yeah. So yeah, we haven't read that one yet.
Okay. Then next we have Knotted, which starts off, what's the name of this series?
This is her Trails of Sin.
Trails of Sin, yes. Yeah. Series.
Yes. So you've just read Knotted. So this is, again, is a trilogy, 3 different books, but 3 different couples in each book. I'll let you talk about this one, and then I've read the other 2, and I have notes for them.
All right. In Knotted, we have Connor, who is our heroine. I know the name kind of throws you, but she is the heroine. And then we also have Jake, who is our hero. And they have grown up together. Their families run this big ranch together. I think it's in Texas, right? Like this huge ranch.
Somewhere in the South.
Yeah, so they run this huge ranch together, the families do. So they've grown up together, and they have been like in love since they were like little kids, basically, as they grow up into their friendship, I guess, changes, from where they love each other as like, best friends as little kids, and then they grow up together. And he is like a year or 2 older than her. And so when she turns 16, they decide that they are going to take their relationship further. But they kind of go about it in a little different way. So they decide to do it like way out away from the houses. They don't want to get caught. But they also are experimenting a little bit for the first time as well, with like tying people up and stuff. And during this time, they get attacked, and he is forced to watch her be raped in front of him. And this all happens at the very beginning of the book, which sets up everything else that comes after this. So it's kind of them dealing with all of the fallout and how this impacts them. And there's some separation, and just a lot of stuff happens very quickly right after this happens. And so this is their story. And then this also kind of sets up the next 2 books.
Yeah, so I just looked, it takes place in Oklahoma. But the other 2 books, yeah, so the other 2 books are 2 different, are other couples. So because of what happens after the rape, his 2 buddies are along for the ride as far as helping him with the certain situation. And the last 2 books are their books. So the 3rd book, I know, like I loved the 3rd book because it's the one buddy who actually ended up going to prison for circumstances, and he gets out of prison, and the heroine is somebody he finds who has been beaten and abused, and he nurses her back to health. And then the second one is somebody that he meets at a bar that he thinks is a journalist, and it's kind of one of those enemies to lovers kind of thing. So I love the series. This is her cowboy series. This is, I mean, it is so hot. It is so good.
And dark.
And dark. And Knotted, the first book, is always free on Amazon. So you can go read that. Yeah. Okay.
And then the last trilogy, I guess it is, right, that she has would be, that we haven't talked about yet, is Heart of Eve.
Yeah, so this starts with the Dead of Eve, and I read this one. I read the first book and the novella. There is a free novella that is with this book, and that is Heart of Eve is what that one's called, and then this is the Trilogy of Eve is what the whole series is called.
Oh, sorry.
And then it's fine, and then we start with, I was thinking the same thing, and then we start with Dead of Eve. So this is again is a trilogy with the one novella that sets everything up. It's kind of a prequel novella, or it gives you a part of the story. I guess you relive it from a guy's point of view. This is why I choose. This was Pam's very first book that she published, and it is a horror dystopian post-apocalyptic type romance, and it's, I haven't continued on. I kind of know what happens in the second book because somebody spoiled it when they shouldn't have, which makes me very upset. But I also saw that Pam had said somewhere that this new series that she's writing, the one in Alaska, is basically her trying to rewrite this one because it's not as popular. But I did love it. I loved the first book. I want to go back and listen or read the other ones. There's not audio for the other books. This is the first book. But I do want to go back and get back into it because it's still good. Even though it was her first book, it's very good. So that is it. Those are your Pam Godwin books. I do know that she is teasing. She said that once she gets done with the Alaska series, she's going to sleep for about, a month. And then she's going to get started writing another book that will happen in the Sea of Ruin world. So we do know that that is coming as well.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. That's the deep dive into Pam Godwin. So make sure down below that you comment any questions that you have that you would like us to ask her. And let us know, what books have you read by Pam? What are some of your favorites? If you haven't, are any of these looking like books that you want to add to your TBR? Tell us everything down in those comments, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it so much.
Yep. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.
And make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us.
Yeah, she's right. Okay. Bye, guys.